Hello everyone, it's Tom again. Just wanted to say I hope you're all well and staying out of this horrendous heat that we have. It was 44 degrees just the other day in Australia, and so keep well hydrated and look after yourselves. I need to apologise for not putting my list of collecting genres in the comments section. When I had a look at it in my database, it was such a long list. I thought there's no way everyone's going to read that. So if you do have something that is in, for example, that Dalton figure I mentioned, if I have something related to Dalton figures, if it's a tennis related one, then by all means let me know and I'll put a picture of that up or do a talk about it. So I was thinking about what the most collected thing might be for a tennis collector, and I considered that it would be tennis rackets, like equipment mainly, so tennis rackets and balls. I have quite a lot of tennis rackets. I've got 134 in my collection, but I'm not going to be making 134 videos on tennis rackets. So I've pulled out a few that I thought might interest you, and so I'll make a start on, first of all, just going through the parts of a racket, just to do the basics, and then we'll take it from there. So here I have a racket that has everything I want to talk about. So we start off at the bottom of the racket. This is the butt and the butt cap, which would be in here. You can see that the fixture is nailed on at the bottom. It's also slightly wider so that your hand doesn't slip off when you're playing. And generally on here, I'll put it the right way up, this is generally where you would see the manufacturer's logo. In this case, it doesn't have it because it's not a new racket, it's an older one, obviously. This one says, when not in use, please keep in a price. Which is really handy. The handle is then from the base of the butt cap to here. So the handle where you would hold it would be here, but this part here is still classed as part of the handle. You can also see that there are slight grooves in here all the way around. This was if your hand got a little bit sweaty, then the sweat would run down through these grooves, or it would evaporate through these grooves. This is because they didn't have the rubber grips that we have on rackets nowadays. This racket is a Prosser racket, which is a well-known mark in the old days. So then we move on to what's called the shoulder, and that's this part here on both sides. And you can see it's slight, this line here. You can see that, that's the shoulder, that's the frame going up towards the head. And in the middle here, which you can see just stopped here, this is the wedge. So the wedge was just to give it a bit more strength. So if there was nothing in the middle of that, it was not very strong. So the wedge in the middle was to give it more strength, stability. You would then have wrapping on the racket, and that's all the way around. That again is just simply, this is where the join would be of the wedge and the frame. That just give it a bit more strength. You would then have the head itself, the actual head racket. Also on the strings, you would have, here you can just see more strings at the top. I'll just move out of the way. These little strings here, these were only found at the top and the bottom of rackets. So you can see it's just at the bottom here and just at the top. And these were just basically to help lock the strings in place. You'll also see here where this bracket comes out of one hole, but it's actually two strings. And that was something that they did, which was to give more density to the sweet spot of the racket, so more strings basically. This up here is called trebling, and this would be called purling, where they did 2 strings in the middle. And that's the basics. This racket, this is classed as a lopsided racket. You can see if you look along the straight edge of the racket, of the handle, sorry, you'll see that it seems to have more of the head at the bottom than it does at the top. But it's basically just because the racket head is sort of lopsided, and that's basically all there is to that. This racket, so lopsided rackets, sorry, were between 1874 to the 1880s. This particular racket here is one of 2 that I have in a wooden boxed set, but the racket expert in our society considers that this is not part of the box set, because the box set is not of that era, it's a little bit later. So these 2 rackets that were in the box when I bought it were not necessarily from that year. These are from the earliest times when they played real tennis or royal tennis. So he considers that these 2 rackets are royal tennis or real tennis rackets. But they're 1874 to 1880. The next one is a flat top, and that's from the 1880s, 1883 to 1890 or thereabouts. So this is a flat top one. As you can see here, it just has a flat top. And that was just the shape change. But you can see it's still got the basics. The sweat guard or the sweat channel on this one is 1 on either side. So a large one on this side and a large one on that side. Again, but on this particular racket, there's no back cap. So this is where it widened, and you would, to keep good grip of the racket itself. This one is a Demon fishtail racket, which is what the shape of this is, fish tail. And this is, as I said, it's a Slazenger racket, so Slazenger on there. And it also has a picture of a demon on here, and that's their racket. Again, this has the trebling at the bottom and the top. Well, yes, slightly at the top. And it also has, just in the middle, it's got the 2 strings that go into the purling. So that's 1883 to 1890. And then from the 1900s, you would find, or from basically, the oval rackets were used from 1870 to the present day, 1874 to the present day. But this is the oval racket that I was holding up earlier. This is a Prosser, Thomas Prosser. And this is just the one that I did the basics on earlier on. Rackets also changed obviously since then. So I'm just going to pick out a few more and just go through them quickly and let you have a look at them. Okay, so here we have a metal racket. This is from the 1920s, and it's made by Burmal, which is Birmingham Aluminium Company. It has the wooden shaft as normal with the little grooves for the sweat. This one has lost its bud cap. And this has metal strings. This has strings that were made from steel cables or piano wire. And you can see here that it would have had the trebling up here still as well. There's no purling on this one. But this would have been really hard on tennis balls, so the balls would not have lasted very long if you were playing with this racket. And still springy, quite springy. So Burmal and also Dayton made metal rackets. Dayton were from Ohio. The next rackets I've got from the 30s, 1930s, are So in the 1930s to 40s, there were signature rackets or decal rackets. So a signature racket is basically what it means. It has the signature of the player on the racket, which you can just see here. So this one's Fred Perry, and this was made by Schlesingers. So the signature indicated that Schlesingers sponsored Fred Perry, and these were marketing and advertising products. So if you liked Fred Perry, you would buy his racket, and that's what the sponsors would give rackets to the players for. They were making sales basically from that. So this is a Schlesingers. This doesn't have a name, but you can see down the bottom it does have the S for Schlesinger, if you can just see it there. And this is another signature racket. This one is Lou Hode's, or Lewis Hode, Australian player. And this was a Dunlop, so you can see the D for Dunlop here. And it's just not quite got its sticker on here. I'm not sure if you can see it. But this one, I purchased this one because it's quite a really nice scroll design on this one, which I thought was really nice. Strings are a bit wasteful there, but then I bought it because I liked it because of this design. Again, that's from the 30s and 40s. And then from there, same years, these are decal rackets. So this one is a Schlesinger. This is the Schlesinger logo. This one is signed, but it also has, this is a photo decal racket, but sometimes photo decal rackets are also signed. So this one here is John Newcombe, Australian tennis player, which is quite a nice photo of him as a young guy. Color-wise, this is a bit in your face, I think, but then it was the 30s and 40s, so I guess they're looking for colourful rackets to sell. Again, they're sponsored by them. So here we have another decal, photo decal racket, and this is a Spalding one, Davis Cup model. And on the other side of this one, it has photo decal of a lady, and it's actually called the Ladies Model. Now, this lady, I have no idea who she is. I've done some research and I can't find anything on her. But the reason I thought this was kind of strange was because the Davis Cup is not a ladies competition. The ladies competition is the Fed Cup. And so I was a bit curious as to why there was a lady on this racket and why it was the ladies model when it had Davis Cup on it. So I'm still trying to find out as much as I can on this. But this is basically if I ever find out who this lady is, this is basically another sponsored racket for that person. But it's just a bit strange that it's got Davis Cup on it. So we'll see what we can find out about that. From there, we move on to this one. Now, this is a Hazel's Streamline model. This particular one is the Green Star. Now, there were red stars, green stars, and blue stars. They were also made in color of white and the color of aqua with blue. And the green star, sorry, the stars, depending on whether it was green, red, or blue, indicated the different laminations on as to how this was made, this racket. So you can see here, this was as I say, this was in 1930s, 1935, I think, that it was patented. And this was used by Bunny Austin of Britain, tennis player. It's got 3 shafts and very, very narrow shafts, as you can see, but quite strong. So you can see here the openings on here, that's less wind resistance, obviously, and because of the thinness of these, it's very quick to handle through the air. It's sort of elongated head on this, but it's pretty much oval. And that's a really nice, that's got the Hazel's H on the butt cap. That's a really nice one. So here we have a Stellar racket. And this one has the open throat as well to give it a little bit of airflow, which is rather a nice one. And then we move on to Snout. And the Snout were from the 1970s. And this particular one, you can just see on here, it says John Newcomb. So this was a racket that was made for, not necessarily for him, he played with this racket at one stage. This is in mint condition, this one, so I'm very happy to have found this. It still has the Snout tag on it. Not strung, obviously it's never been used. And at the same time, I came across this one. So this is the same racket, but it's still in its original bag, still all sealed. And this one has the, apart from the swing tag, this has got the thing with John Newcomb on it as well. So I was very happy to get them. Again, never used, so they're both in mint condition. So the other racket I wanted to show you, which is actually two rackets, they're children's rackets, and these were a present from my sister. So you can see here, that's the racket cover. This one is Venus, and, oh sorry, they're both Venus and Serena, so it's the same racket cover. But it's clear on the back, just a W for Wilson. But you can see on this one is signed here, and the other one is signed up here. And you can also see these, not so much the ball, but these. So if you remember, the Venuses, the Williams sisters had beads in their hair, which kept coming off the hair when they were playing, and they were actually told they shouldn't have been playing with them in the hair. They were a bit upset about that because that's their style of hair for where they came from. But the reason I have these is because they were from the coach of two children in I think it was Queensland. My sister was on holiday at the time, and she came across them. She saw them in an auction house that was being auctioned for charity, and so she bought me these. I have no idea what she paid for them. So these are very happy with these. These have been played with by the kids, the children that, so you can see they're quite well used. But they have up here, I don't know if you can see that, I'll try and get it there. Up here it has, oops, Venus. So Venus, the fastest serve ever. And on the other side, it has Serena, just up here. And that is Serena lightning quick moves, it says on that one. And so the children autographed them, the Williams sisters autographed them for the children. And obviously the children grew up, didn't want to have them anymore. And the coach, who was their father, he managed to get them signed, and then they ended up in this auction house to raise money for charity. So I'm very happy. But these, because they met them to get them signed, I have been advised that these are actually beads that they would have, that the Williams sisters did actually wear. So can't prove it, but I've no reason to doubt that's not the case. And so that's about it for rackets. I've used a couple of books from my collection. One, I'll just show you a picture of the two books, and I'll put a picture at the end you can have a look at. They've got the ISB number on them. So this is one. This is the Tennis Antiques and Collectables book by Jeanne Cherry. She was very instrumental in putting this together. This is signed from Jeanne. We met her at the Australian Open one year. And this book it's about pretty much anything in tennis. Not just rackets, but it includes, here we go, we've got ball cans, then she moves on to equipment, shoes, clothing. It's just a really, really interesting book. It's got on books, posters, you name it, it's in here. So highly recommend this book for in general antiques and collectibles, just in tennis alone. So I'll put the ISBN number on the end of the thing for that. And the other one, sorry, didn't have that at hand, sorry about that. I haven't used this one in the video for any references, but this particular book here called What a Racquet, this is a book simply on the Alexander Racquet Company in Tasmania. They've recently celebrated 100 years and they had an exhibition at the Tasmanian Museum. And this is just about the history of the Alexander tennis racket, which was manufactured in Tasmania. So again, I'll put the ISB number on for that as well, if you want to take note. There is another extensive book, Book of Rackets by Siegfried Kubler. Now that book, I believe, is no longer in print, but you may be able to pick one online through the likes of eBay and stuff like that. I believe they're still around, so yes, that's about it for today. I might see how long this video is. If it's not very long, then I might just do a little quick one on the balls as well. But if not, then I'll see if I can make the next video for the tennis balls. So thanks for having a look again. As I say, if you feel like you want to subscribe, I'd be more than happy to have you do that. And hope you have a good day. Bye.